Have you ever wondered why you get cravings at certain times of the month? Or why, on some days, you feel on top of the world, while on others, you are low on energy and easily irritable? Well, you're a female.
Having assisted females across different demographics through the years, all of them listed fat loss as one of their main objectives. Although they go through their monthly menstrual cycle, more than half of them do not understand how it works and the impact it has on their fat loss objectives. In this video, I'll do the ladies a favor by providing an overview of the menstrual cycle, the two key hormones involved, and how they can manipulate their lifestyle to maximize their fat loss efforts. As for the gentlemen, do stay tuned if you want to better understand your partner's behaviour during different phases of a menstrual cycle and gain brownie points.
For fat loss, the main principle of having a calorie deficit remains, so it's crucial that your calorie intake do not exceed your energy expenditure. Onto the basics of the menstrual cycle, which typically lasts 28 days, although a perfectly normal cycle can range anywhere from 24 to 32 days. The entire cycle can be divided into two main phases: the follicular phase, which is the first half, and the luteal phase, the second half. Marking the transitions in between the two main phases are two well-known events: menstruation and ovulation. Next up, let me introduce the two key hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which you will discover in the next few visuals, play significant roles in the menstrual cycle. Estrogen is the main hormone during the follicular phase as it rises after menstruation. While after ovulation and estrogen begins to drop, progesterone dominates the luteal phase. Now that we've covered the basics, here's how you can align your lifestyle with the different phases of your menstrual cycle to optimize long-term fat loss. Day 1 is when menstruation takes place, and the duration typically lasts between 5 to 7 days. While most of my female clients do not feel their best, so this is the best time for them to relax and rest, or for me to tone down the intensity of their physical activities. Both estrogen and progesterone levels are also at baseline during this phase. As females lose anywhere between 50 to 80 milliliters of blood, it's crucial to focus on the intake of quality red blood cell generating nutrition by emphasizing on the intake of iron, vitamin C, and vitamin B12 rich food. After menstruation, the follicular phase begins. And during this phase, the ovarian folliculars develop and the lining of the uterus wall thickens in preparation for an egg implantation. While both estrogen and progesterone starts low, the former will begin to rise while the latter remains low throughout this phase. Elevating estrogen levels will heighten insulin sensitivity, so a carbohydrate-based eating plan is preferred, providing stable blood sugar and high energy levels. Due to better glycogen utilization, this is the best time to satisfy your carbohydrate cravings and sweet tooth. In terms of physical performance, the rising estrogen will also bring about greater strength and pain tolerance. So go beast mode with high intensity workouts. Mentally, You'll also be sharper and function like an 11th gen Intel Core chip. Alongside all the positive physical and mental changes, this is also the optimal time to lower your overall calorie intake due to better appetite control and hunger. Overall, the follicular phase is your opportunity to push higher intensity, higher volume workouts while creating a calorie deficit. Due to the rapid surges in estrogen, you will continue to feel more awesome by the day until one of the follicles releases an egg. And boom! Ovulation. You will feel on top of the world and walk around like Miss Universe. Now it's time to do what you want, like engage in ovulation activities. Well, the lifespan of an egg is only about 24 hours, so if it does not meet a nice sperm, it will go to waste. Thereafter, the luteal phase begins as estrogen level drops and progesterone level rises, caused by the follicles secreting loads of progesterone to further thicken the lining of the uterus for implantation, just in case the egg gets fertilized. The fate of the uterine lining is aligned with the egg, so if the latter goes to waste, the former has no purpose too. This unfertilized situation causes both progesterone and estrogen levels to fall again towards baseline. This is when premenstrual syndrome, better known as PMS, occurs. It generally lasts for 4 to 7 days until you get your period. Then the cycle begins all over again. As highlighted earlier on, estrogen levels starts to drop as progesterone rises, and insulin sensitivity will be affected as your body switches its preference from carbohydrates to fat. The fall in estrogen results in lower serotonin and dopamine levels in the brain, which might, or should I say will, ignite cravings. Unstable blood glucose levels will also affect your energy levels and mood. So now is the time for comfort food, which are usually higher in fat, to satisfy the cravings and feel full. Well, good news is that basal body temperature increases when progesterone rises. So this means an increase in your resting metabolic rate and overall energy expenditure too. So do also leverage on the improved fat oxidation during this phase with lower fat burning exercise intensity zones. Evidently, this isn't the best time for a diet phase. So with the deficit created in the earlier follicular phase, having a diet break or maintenance calorie levels should still keep you on target with your fat loss objectives. Lastly, due to the menstrual cycle, scale weight and body measurements can fluctuate as a result of water retention occurring at different stages. So here's a general guide for your reference. During week 1, you're least affected by water retention and scale weight will be at its lowest. Well, that's pending the amount of vaginal discharge you're having. After menstruation and into week 2, it is common to retain a little water, which should not affect your scale weight much. As you enter week 3, water retention is not an issue, and your weight should be comparable with week 1. However, as you enter week 4 and encounter PMS? Well, let's just have the weighing scale out of sight. Weekly fluctuations can hide progress measurements, so it's proper to compare apples with apples by using data from the same week against that of previous cycles. For example, if you take your measurements in week 1 and then again in week 4, it can be disheartening to see the numbers going backwards due to water retention and not fat gain. Well, what matters is that the general trend is going down from month to month.
In conclusion, the menstrual cycle does make fat loss a bit more complicated for females. However, through the proper alignment of your lifestyle according to the different phases, your fat loss efforts will be maximized.
Well, I hope my video comes in handy as a reference, but due to interpersonal variability, do listen to and learn how your body responds during your cycle and adapt accordingly. Thank you for your time, and as always, if you benefited from this video, do like it and share it with people who will also gain from it. Lastly, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more health and fitness related content.